Take this off. We'll move away from the noise.
Okay, we move away from the noise. So thank you for the
I'll
nice.
Do you want like a
lecture?
better background? Or?
It's okay like this.
So we are fine.
So hi, Yair.
Hi.
Thank you for the nice lecture. You're from Israel.
Yes.
And you have a big clinic there.
We have both a big medical center called Refuot, where we have about 20 practitioners working in, but I also work in the hospital, in the biggest hospital in the Middle East called Sheba Hospital, where we have a special research center in cancer. Both laboratories, when we do laboratory work, especially in herbal medicine and cancer and immunology, and also we have a clinic where we see cancer patients.
I think it was 3 years ago that you told us about your research, about that you take a biopsy of the cancer, put it in vitro with, well...
One of the special things that we're doing different projects. One is 15 years researching one formula, which is called LCS 101. The other one is really extreme, that we take of patients of mine, we'll go to the operation room, we'll take a dissection of their cancer, we grow it in the lab, and then we try different herbs to kill their own cancer cells. And we also take their blood, we isolate the natural killer cells, and we looked at the same herbs are also stimulating their own blood.
So that you know for sure that one of these herbal medicine will...
It's a bit extreme conclusion, but what we see that herbal medicine is selective. And if I can tell you one interesting conclusion, that a lot of time I will write the herbal prescription to the patient before, and I will check, let's say, 3 or 5 or 6 different prescriptions. So the one that I wrote usually will be the most effective, both for killing cancer and stimulating the person's own immunity when you compare it to other prescriptions.
Yeah.
So it's another kind of feedback that our clinical observation and decision making is probably has also later more validation into treating the patient disease.
It's brilliant.
It's quite far out.
Yeah. You just had a short lecture about the 12 ghost points.
Well, the lecture focused on 8 points in the body that has the name Shen in them, and why the points are where they are and what they are doing.
Okay. So we all also get a flyer inside with your URL of your website, and that's about e-learning.
Yes.
Can you tell me?
This is one, I think, the most interesting place to study online, because studying online means actually seeing different quality in a different way and learning Chinese medicine in the deepest way. So we put this website, it's actually called TCM Academy. It has at this moment a lot of free lectures, some of them short, some of them longer. And you can really, once you go in, you will appreciate it and understand what is e-learning. Learning from the internet is a different challenge, and luckily we had a lot of experts joining in to create, I think, one of the most interesting experience to deepen your knowledge in Chinese medicine.
So this is still in the beginning, eh? So
it's
in
an ongoing project.
Years, it will be.
Oh, it will grow tremendously. Already now there's another 30 hours editing of films, and you have a lot of really leading teachers, such as Heiner Freehoff, if you know, Misha Cohen, Elizabeth Rocha, and there's also some videos obviously of me. One of them is about tears, why we tear, and all the references in the classics of why human tears and what kind of tears we have. Okay. So we have also like a short 15 minutes, we call it TCM Talks, about different subjects.
So, great. Okay, thank you very much again.
You're all welcome to watch it.
You'll be giving more lectures this week?
No, this was it.
So now you can...
This was the lecture, yeah.
Now you can enjoy your great time.
I can enjoy in a different way.
Yeah.
I enjoy also lecturing, so
yeah. Thank you very much for your time and effort.
You're welcome. Well, thank you. Thank you a lot. Thanks.
So, here we're back.
Hi.
Good afternoon. Now in the Netherlands at the Dutch TCM Congress, the first one, held by the professional organization Zong, which celebrates its 25th anniversary this year. And we were just talking about
The
the
symbol
cover of
on
your
my
computer. Yeah.
on my computer. Well, it's actually it's a really interesting symbol or Chinese character which is to do with studying. And studying, this is a baby under a roof. And in order to study, you need a child's mind. You need to be open. You need to be like a child. And you know, children can really study everything and fast. And when it's under a roof, when it's contained, something can happen. And then if you look at the end of the character, something is growing out of it. So there is a grass on the top. So you have the baby under a roof with the grass, and this is the nature of studying. Being open-minded in a contained place, focusing on something and allowing something to grow in you. So to me, I love this more than the apple sign.
And a contained space, you also mean a safe space, like you are protected?
I think that in order to study, we need to confine something. You know, we need to bring something in. It's actually to do with this interesting idea why the small intestine is the yang of the heart. So it's one of the way to explain also studying, because when you hear something, you digest it. But whatever, when you would eat tomato, so part of it will become you, and most of it will go out. The part that becomes you, and the decision to make which part will become you, is the small intestine. And this part of tomato that becomes me is me. The part of studying that I can digest and make it part of me, it will determine the way I see the world, the way I see myself, the way my senses are open and getting everything. So that's the idea of studying. It's allowing yourself to be totally open and letting something to be part of you, so then you can grow and grow others and grow the world.
That's great, and that's very nice that you put it on your computer, and that we
because
have
I teach, so
exactly, because we are here at the Congress in the Netherlands, 2 days, and you've lectured yesterday, like a small summary about the Shen points that you were also discussing in Rothenburg. Today you elaborate, is that the word?
yeah.
You
Today I focused on the Shen acupuncture points that have the name Shen in them.
yeah.
Yesterday we talked more about how we diagnose the Shen and what is our treatment approach to put the Shen in our treatment idea of being part of our treatment plan, treatment strategy. So the Shen is not something vague, it is something very real. It's the same as qi and blood and body fluid. So this was I think the kind of focusing back on that point.
Hey, you told us that Shen is like an essence. It's like
Shen
a
is
substance.
It's one of the 5 substances in the
Yeah.
body, and I think we have to bring it and to make like a clear understanding, and also step by step how we use it in the clinic. Eventually, we are clinicians.
Yeah.
We are not theoretical people.
Yeah.
And the theory matches the deep understanding of Chinese medicine, and especially the dynamic and the inner exchange. I can say the inner alchemy of the body is definitely everything is between Shen and Jing.
Yeah.
The lecture was very much focused on that.
You explained us, Shen can become Jing, and Jing
Shen becomes Jing, and Jing
yeah.
becomes Shen. That's the deep secret of Chinese medicine, but the deep secret of life that Chinese medicine reveals us.
That is great. Now you mentioned that you've studied under Ted Kapchuk in Boston.
Yes.
He was one of your first teachers.
Well, I finished 4 schools, so he was one of my he was one of my teachers and my mentor in my PhD. Yeah.
Yeah, and he is now researching
He's researching the placebo effect.
Yeah.
In Harvard. He's a professor in Harvard now, focusing on, because placebo is one of the interesting things about Shen. If you believe in something, you can really create change.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
it's not a negative. In Western medicine, it's seen as a negative thing. But actually, if we think about it, it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
So we have the ability to heal ourselves. We have the ability to create changes just by our focus on our heart and on our belief in the ability of either external thing or internal thing to heal ourselves.
Yeah, I think there's recently a book published. I forgot the author. Be the Placebo.
Okay.
Is the name of the book.
Beautiful.
Brilliant. Yeah. And you also mentioned Giovanni Machacha that has left us in this material world recently, which is a big loss. So sorry for that loss. And you mentioned him as a person that
Inspired me very much.
yeah.
He was both a close friend, a teacher, and somebody that I think we all owe so much for the nature of Chinese medicine in the West. He's very unifying. I think all the schools, although we have such a different traditions, we all refer to him as some foundation, and I think we owe him a lot for the way he delivered Chinese medicine and helped us form it in the West.
He was really helping connecting East and West. Or
he was helping in making sense in things that don't make sense. And I think Chinese medicine is difficult to swallow in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Later, not making sense is the next step because you go back to the origin. But at the beginning, you want to make sense out of things.
Yeah.
And I think Giovanni has this clear mind and ability to express and explain things. To me, it was always an inspiration. So I think first you have to make sense, then you can lose it again. So for this first step, there is no one better that at least I know than Giovanni. And he was a great person, really great, special person, and very hearted person.
So we owe him a big thank you and a tribute.
I think we owe him a lot, and I think it's again seeing a giant that fulfilled something special in his life, and it was so special.
Yeah.
So definitely, it's somebody I personally love, and we all should care and nourish his memory. Yeah.
You mentioned giants before, also in today's lecture. You say if we want to understand Chinese medicine more, we have to trace back in time to get in touch with the giants of the times. Yeah.
Chinese medicine was created by. I won't go into the history. It's again a whole lecture, and it's different. There's three possibilities, but definitely there were people along the way of Chinese medicine from the beginning who were giants in understanding the universe and the world, and then in understanding men. So everything is traced from the very simple cell of yin and yang meeting to the universe, and from the universe back. So anything we see in acupuncture can be traced back to this kind of understanding and deep knowledge. And then I say the deep alchemy. And then a lot of things that we think are strange, once we learn it, we learn that there is a reason for it. If you go back and trace it to their mind and to the people who created the medicine.
Yeah. So we have to study the classics again.
We have to do a lot of attempts from different directions, but all the time with this kind of attitude.
Yeah. Yeah. And I say again, but actually we should perpetuate, study the classics.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one of the ways to go deeper and deeper. Even just leave space and concentrate on things and not just rush them.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot, once you have the right kind of attitude and understand the basic building blocks, you can learn more and more. Faraday is a good example who found out that electrons are moving from atom to atom. This is how electricity is born. And he didn't have any magnifying microscope or anything else. And he was asked, how did you find it? He says, I looked at this kind of candle burning. I look at the light coming from the candle. They say, everybody looks at the light from the candle. I say, but I looked at it for a long time. And everything can be an inspiration to understand nature. So I think with our ideas, if we look deeper and deeper, we have the capacity to look into our patients and our life. So the more things gets unfolded. And so we need information from outside, from like classics, but we need also information from the inside, like observing life in a very careful way and in a very methodological way. And suddenly they unfold.
And this is maybe also the answer to my next question. I wanted to ask you if you have any idea how the ancients came up with these brilliant ideas about the universe, the Big Bang theory, the whole way of Tao.
I think there is more than a simple answer to that.
Yeah, but
I think there is few things that are conveying together. So I don't have one idea. I have few ideas, and probably it's a combination of few things. One of them definitely is people who had an insight into things, but it's also to do with how the whole ancient world that we look, even in ancient Egypt and other ancient culture, they had a lot of knowledge that was lost.
Yeah.
This knowledge came from somewhere. So I don't think
Yeah.
it started from zero.
Yeah.
I think there was a knowledge,
Yeah.
and this knowledge unfolded. And as I say, I don't think it's a simple answer.
Yeah.
We are looking in the Western world a lot of time for A plus B, C answer.
Yeah.
You know, we have a question, there'll be an answer. I don't think that for most of the question there is a direct answer, but there is a territory that we have to explore.
But part of the answer could be that they have observed longer and more closely. And in the nowadays we are so distracted. I mean,
That's
attention
definitely,
is
I think that the more you observe and the more you are connected to nature, the more nature and life unfold.
Yeah.
Life is not just our story. It's the story of the planet, the story of the universe. So the more we are connected to the source of life, the more things unfold. And as you truly said, we are distracted now a lot by external stimulation, and we have less space for internal contemplation and space, which is unfortunate, you know, because we have such a comfortable life, we can use
Yeah.
them also more for
seems
something which is human more.
it seems that we are cut off of nature. Like if you ask a child in the city where does milk come from, or you know, simple things that we
Yeah,
actually should
it's
know,
obviously-
and so
Obviously, modern life creates a lot of challenges,
Yeah.
and one of them is this departing from our source. And you know, we are part of nature,
yeah,
so I think this is definitely one of the biggest challenges, and one of the biggest reason for a lot of things that we see, especially in children, that we didn't see before. But again, it's a complex, because we are cut from nature. We make a lot of decisions that people are cut from nature are making. So it's again opening a whole territory. So I think it's a challenging life, but I think it's also one of the best times to live, because we have a lot of opportunities,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
opportunities that people before us didn't have. So
Yeah.
it has the yin and yang. It has the challenges, but it has also the potential. So we have to look at both and
Yeah.
be aware.
Very nice. I've got a couple of quotes that I would like to present to you, and just give a brief reaction. I'll just swap some pages of my notebook, because one of the quotes that came up during the lecture is this one. The Shen is heaven within us. It conducts us and guards us, and we must guard it.
Mhm.
What does it do when I say something like that? What is your reaction, or can you say something about it?
I would say something about the endpoint. I think that's a dual relationship. And I think the most important, we also have to guard the Shen. If we want to have more Shen in our life, we have to understand that it's also our responsibility. So we have to treat our own life and others people's life. The nature of Shen, that it's common. Everybody has the same Shen. So if I nourish your Shen, everybody's Shen gets nourished. And it guards you because you are guarding it, and because you are helping it to fulfill its destiny. So I think it's a more like kind of dual relationship. And people are religious, obviously understand it. You know, they pray and they do a lot of things in order to be closer to something of a godly nature. And again, people who are atheists or don't practice any religion or practices should find still ways to be connected and to guard the Shen and to protect it as well as it will protect you.
Is there a job as well as for us therapists to bring people back to nature and make them connect with the Shen again, and make them responsible for their own guarding of the Shen?
I think that's the deepest reason for Chinese medicine. You know, I think Chinese medicine nowadays, because we have some special potential to help people to connect and reconnect to their deep nature and the deep reason for being a human. So yeah, I think this should be the deep aim of anything we do.
And it's a nice bridge to the next quote that I want to present to you. If we don't understand the importance of life, how can we treat or heal patients or people?
Yeah, this is a quote that from one of my friends and teacher, Elisabeth Rochat de Lavallée. I think, again, as practitioner, we should deeply look at life and death, beginning and ending. We see people in the middle, and the beginning and ending gives us a better kind of understanding and connection to life themselves. So I think when you treat life, you have to understand life.
Yeah, true, absolutely. And the last quote is, if the heart has no worries, the body has no limit.
That's my best quote from Sun Tzu Miao.
Yeah.
As humans, we have no limits. As therapists, we have no limits.
True. Okay. And then I end with one, and that's from Shun to Shun, and that is quoted by Yair.
Yeah, that's my best way to depart, is to say from Shen to Shen. Thank you very much.
Okay. And thank you very much for this interview from Shen to Shen.
Thank you.
Okay.